Guys, what's up? It's your boy Crypto Marco yet again with another awesome video on the topic of cryptocurrencies, the currency your friendly bank employee from around the corner told you to stay away from because he said that investing in virtual real estate is a smarter idea. So welcome to today's video on the topic of Decentraland, cryptocurrency that is booming right now on the coin market cap. As you can see, all of a sudden it wasn't there, and now all of a sudden, you know, the price has gone up 150% in one day. If we take a look, it looks like a 90-degree incline towards the top. Like all of a sudden a huge surge in value. So where does that come from? A question I want to answer in this video. And if you enjoyed this video, make sure to leave it a thumbs up. That would be great. Also comment down below, because among everybody who's commenting, I'm giving away a small amount of Litecoin every day. So don't forget that. Subscribe to my channel if you want to see more, and hit that notification bell to get a notification when I upload a video. And let's get into Decentraland. So Decentraland is basically a virtual reality platform for on the Ethereum blockchain. It's some kind of mix from you know, somewhere between Second Life and Minecraft, but in virtual reality. And the special thing about Decentraland is that you can buy your own property and monetize that own property. So you can buy some property and then put in a theme park or a casino or a strip club, whatever. And thanks to the function of smart contracts, you can program, probably through Solidity, certain functions into that property. And as you can see, they have a nice looking landing page, and this is how it's supposed to look like one day. And usually I don't do this, but I think, in my opinion, the video of how it's supposed to look like one day is really cool. Of course, kind of exaggerated, probably, like who knows whether it will look like this one day or not. This is not in-game footage, it's just you know, animation of how it's supposed to look like one day, but the implied idea behind it is pretty interesting. I remember back in the day when I was a kid, and when I watched Cartoon Network, I saw, you know, these, you know, some, in every episode of every in one episode of at least every cartoon, the protagonists had like to put on some glasses, you know, some virtual glasses, and they were immersed into a virtual world. And that's what I was like, oh my god, I want to do that one day. Hopefully I will get to see that. And Decentraland is currently the thing that comes closest to that experience in virtual reality and on a blockchain, at least. So this is another video that came out a little 2 or 3 months before the video you just saw, and it explains on a more you know, graphical level on what's going on. So you have this in-game currency called mana, and you can use it to play poker games, as you just saw right now, buy property, and everything. Like in the first 35 seconds of the ICO, all the mana was already sold out. Like 24 million US dollars have been invested in Decentraland in that short time. And many people were frustrated because they could not get their hands on decentralized coins, which I mean on mana, which I totally can understand. But it might mean that somebody with a lot of capital invested by himself a lot of money. So, but on the other hand, maybe they had a hard cap, so some max investment that you couldn't get above. I don't know. But basically, as you can see, this is how it looks like right now when you launch it. So it doesn't look very spectacular, and it's very complicated to start Decentraland on your PC. They do provide a guide, but it looks rather complicated, and I excuse myself. Okay, now I can breathe again. But then again, it's one of the first, I think the first 3D application video game that's completely based on a blockchain, and that's what makes this very interesting to me. And you know, you see this and you're like, ugh, look at these graphics, looks like it's the year 2002. But you have to keep in mind that this is the blockchain technology, and the guys who are developing it don't have a lot of game developing experience, and that's kind of a little concern of mine. although the YouTube account is not that spectacular. So much for that. And you know, the question at the end remains, what triggered the huge soar in value for Decentraland? So I looked into the blog of Decentraland that you can find on the landing page at the top, and I saw this post of the founders, something about city layout and how to participate in a terraforming event. So they have some kind of auction for properties in the game. You have to put in your mana, and then it's locked in, and then only then can you participate. And that was not what caused the soar. And then I thought it might be this on the 28th of October, when they announced some other land contracts and something about the architecture. But then I took a look at the CoinMarketCap, and I saw that while the announcement was made on the 28th of November, it did decrease a little bit, but not exponentially like it did right now. So something else must have caused that, and it's, in my opinion, it looks like a pump and dump, that somebody made the price go up by a lot. There are multiple ways how you can do that, and if there's nothing behind it, I think right now it is not smart to invest into something. Like I told you in another video that I'm kind of I think I'm a little bit skeptical maybe, but I think that, you know, certain companies that don't have a lot of history, that didn't prove themselves over decades, are worth so much all of a sudden that I think to me it looks like we're gonna see a huge correction very soon, and it looks like some signs of bubbles. But then again, it's just my humble opinion. I'm not a financial advisor, and everything is subjective. So this is, I'm gonna come to that later, and this is when you're thinking about investing in Decentraland, this is like one of the most important things in my opinion that you have to keep in mind, that right now the virtual reality market is in its infancy. So it will increase by a lot over the few years. Only just the fact that the processing power will also increase over the next few years is a sign that you know, virtual reality gaming is gonna become a lot bigger in the next few years, and also the hardware is obviously also gonna get cheaper. So with that said, let's take a look into the white paper, because the white paper explains a lot of stuff that you can you know, about the function of Decentraland. So the introduction says, Decentraland provides an infrastructure to support a shared virtual world, also known as a metaverse. It consists of a decentralized ledger for land ownership, a protocol for describing the content of each land parcel, and a peer-to-peer network for user interactions. What I found, this is nothing new to you, so I explained this already in the video, but what I found very interesting is the history behind it. Decentraland began as a proof of concept for allocating ownership of digital real estate to users on a blockchain. The digital real estate was initially implemented as a pixel on an infinite 2D grid, where each pixel contained metadata identifying the owner and describing the pixel's color. The experiment was entitled Decentraland Stone Age. So this is how it looked like. In late 2016, the team started developing the Bronze Age, a 3D virtual world divided into land parcels. The owner of each parcel was able to associate it with a hash reference to a file, using a modified Bitcoin blockchain. From this reference, users exploring the virtual world could use a distributed hash table and BitTorrent to download the file containing the parcel's content, which defines the models and textures to be displayed at the location. So as you know, BitTorrent is also some kind of decentralized software. The more people share something, the faster it gets. And of course, I'm only going to use BitTorrent to download Decentraland game files and nothing else. We hosted the first world viewer at Decentraland.org world. Any enthusiast can run a node, download and verify the blockchain, and explore the world by following more advanced instructions. So this is what I said earlier. This is how the instructions look like. A bit more complicated than just clicking on download on a Steam game. But if you really want to take a look into it, you know, this is how it looks like at the end. You can do it. I don't know why the performance looks so bad on this PC. Like, you can see that the frame rate must be something like 2 frames per second or something. But it might be that the guy who made the video had a kind of a, you know, weak PC. Shout out to him for uploading this video. Thanks. So the next version of Decentraland, the Iron Age, will create a social experience with an economy driven by the existing layers of land ownership and content distribution. In the Iron Age, developers will be able to create applications on top of Decentraland, distribute them to other users, and monetize them. The Iron Age will implement peer-to-peer communications, a scripting system to enable interactive content, and a system of fast cryptocurrency payments for in-world transactions. A communication layer is essential for social experiences, providing positioning, postures, voice chat, and more. So when they talk about postures, I guess that mean emotes, because what else could they mean with postures, right? And if you're not familiar with emotes, it's kind of, you know, something funny that your character does when he's in the world, some dance or a gesture that you do to kind of communicate with other people. Decentraland achieves this with a peer-to-peer network. The scripting system is the tool that landowners will use to describe the behavior and interactions of 3D objects, sounds, and applications running on land parcels. Finally, a payment system with low fees is key to developing an economy in the quick environment of a virtual world. So what a flexible system Decentraland is. Like, if you want to be a game developer within a game and maybe even monetize it, sounds great. The question is obviously how that's going to turn out in the long run, and especially, you know, if you think about a game where the in-game currency is fluctuating as hard as, you know, Decentraland is doing it right now. I had that experience happening to me in World of Warcraft when I was playing for the Horde, by the way. When I was playing, and I bought a token which I could use to play 1 month for, and it was worth like 30,000 gold pieces at that time. But then a few weeks later, it was 200,000 gold, and I was like, what the hell, man? So it would have been smart to buy more, but I didn't know. I'm trading cryptocurrencies. I'm not trading World of Warcraft tokens. So how useful can a current in-game currency be when it's fluctuating this hard? Like, you know, and at the end of the day, probably, I'm sure that most people who have invested in this have never launched Decentraland. Probably, you know, they probably just bought it because they thought that in the long run they're going to make a lot more with it. So probably the bulk of people who have mana are people who want to not use this an in-game currency, but rather as an asset. And you can see that almost all the total supply has already been emitted, so not a lot will come out. So the question really is, in my opinion, how will the performance of Decentraland be in the long run? But it looks like a very promising project, and I like new projects that are being, you know, developers getting into new water, something that's unfamiliar. Although they don't have a lot of experience with game development, I wish them a lot of success. And I certainly hope that you enjoyed this video. If you did, leave a comment with your Litecoin address down below, because I'm giving away small amount of Litecoin to everybody commenting and subscribing. So thank you so much for watching. Really appreciate you being here. I wish you a lot of success with all your trades. Wish you a lot of health, and see you next time. Bye bye.